Ring of Fire. I know what some of you are thinking. Oh no, not this clown again. Yeah, well, this is also an older video. I did Ring of Fire some time back, and I found this one, and I just could not resist. Now, I saw this some time ago. I even commented on it a long time ago, but I revisited it and thought, this is wonderful. Nobody is more ignorant of what took place there that night in Kenosha than Ring of Fire. Well, there's a lot of people pretty ignorant, so that might be a little strong. However, he does screw up a lot, and so we're going to have some fun watching him mouth off a bunch of facts that are not even within the same area code of the truth. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dread Show.
Last week, Kyle Rittenhouse, the Illinois teenager who traveled from Illinois to Wisconsin with his AR-15, murdered two Black Lives Matter's protesters. Last Friday, he was released from jail on a $2 million bond. He got the money from all of these right-wingers across the country who now view Kyle Rittenhouse as a hero.
Well, they're entitled to believe whatever they want. Nothing wrong with that.
And I understand he still has to go in front of a jury of his peers. They have to either determine him guilty or innocent. We're not saying guilty or innocent at this point. But there is no denying that he did murder these two individuals.
You see how little respect he has for the court system. He only mouths off this innocent until proven guilty. It means nothing to him. If it was up to him, there wouldn't be a trial. Kyle is guilty, so a trial is just this pesky thing that gets in the way of him delivering the sentence that he wants to be administered to Kyle. Innocent until proven guilty means nothing to these people. They just want him convicted regardless. They don't care about the truth. They don't care if he even did it.
The only thing that needs to be seen is whether or not this was self-defense, as Republicans claim it was.
Well, if it remains to be seen whether it was self-defense, then why are you claiming he's a murderer? Does that make any sense at all? Because if he acted in self-defense, then he didn't murder anybody.
So let's look at the facts.
Oh, this is going to be good. He's going to look at the facts. Now remember what we mean by facts. Facts are things that are readily demonstrable. In other words, this is a statement and we can verify the statement readily. And we want the facts to actually reflect the truth. We'll see how well he does.
Kyle Rittenhouse was not allowed legally to have the weapon that he had. So it's an illegal weapon because of his age. He's only 17, was not allowed to have it till he was 18, I believe. So illegally possessing the firearm. That's definitely something he's going to get popped with.
Okay, not so fast. Not so fast. Now, I think the chances are that he will, but it's not a given. There's been a lot of lawyers that have looked at the statutes in Wisconsin, have come to the conclusion that he's actually not going to get popped with that at all, and that it was perfectly legal for him to have that weapon. Personally, I don't think that Kyle will win the day on that, but it is not a fact. That is what we would call a legal conclusion that you're making, and you don't know for sure if that's going to hold up in the long run.
Crossing state lines.
Oh no, he's crossed state lines. Oh boy, I mean, what a devil.
You didn't live there. You didn't live in the city. You didn't even live in the state. So why do you feel the need to go over there and protect it? That's not your personal property. So the Castle Doctrine, which is a typical self-defense doctrine, you have the right to defend your home, your castle, that cannot apply in this situation. So there goes about half of your self-defense claims.
There goes about half of your self-defense claims. It doesn't work like this. You don't have this body of self-defense, and that if you whittle away enough of them, you lose it all. It just doesn't work like that. The Castle Doctrine is not even relevant to this case, and it doesn't have to be. Plenty of people have acted in self-defense, have been found by courts to have acted in self-defense, and have had nothing to do with the Castle Doctrine. Kyle wasn't even defending property at the time that he was attacked. Whether he was from Illinois or Wisconsin is completely irrelevant. Has no basis on whether he can claim self-defense. And it really has no basis on his intent either. We'll get to that in a moment. But for him to invoke the Castle Doctrine shows he doesn't understand self-defense at all.
In the country. Because you can't claim Castle Doctrine because you cross state lines to go there.
Doesn't need to claim Castle Doctrine. And by the way, the Castle Doctrine simply talks about your right to retreat or your duty to retreat if you face a deadly threat. It doesn't mean you have self-defense or not.
And that also makes us have to look at intent. You traveled across state lines with an illegally obtained weapon. So what was your intent?
Well, okay, so first of all, you make a classic mistake of thinking that he crossed state lines with a weapon. He did not. The weapon was in Wisconsin. He traveled across state lines unarmed, which I think proves he wasn't intending on hurting anybody, according to your logic. Ultimately, it makes no difference. The fact that he crossed state lines is completely irrelevant. It says nothing about intent. He only lives 15 miles from Kenosha. He goes to Kenosha all the time. His best friend lives in Kenosha. His dad lives in Kenosha. He is a local. And I think his sister even dated Dominic Black. And he lives in Kenosha. So the fact that he crossed state lines is completely irrelevant. And besides, the state can't use the fact that he crossed state lines in his trial anyway. That would be unconstitutional.
If you travel across state lines with an illegal weapon because you're mad at the people there, the intent is pretty obvious.
It would be if that was really the case. Well, that's actually not even true. There's no indication he was mad at anybody as he crossed the state lines, and he didn't cross the state lines with the weapon in the first place.
And I think the prosecution is going to have a very easy time proving that intent.
Well, not with that logic. Even if what you say is true, it's still conjecture. To prove intent, he would need something like maybe messages on Facebook or text messages to people. But not that. I mean, that's not enough to prove squat.
Now, as far as the legality of all this goes, Republicans keep saying, no, it's self-defense. If you watch the video, people were shooting at him. I've seen the videos. I haven't seen that in any of them.
Wait, what? No. That's not what the Republicans are saying. They're not saying that people shot at him, although actually Joshua Zeminski did fire a pistol at the time. That's not their argument. Their argument is that Rosenbaum chased him and tried to take his rifle from him, and we do have video evidence of that. Furthermore, Anthony Huber and Gage Grosskreutz chased him down and attacked him. And we have video evidence of that as well.
I mean, I'm sure there's some highly edited ones out there where Republicans have, put stuff in maybe. I don't know.
Well, if you don't know, then shut the hell up.
But I've seen plenty of videos on this, and I don't see other people shooting guns at Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't.
Let's see here. I went and looked up the Wisconsin statutes, and it says nothing that you can only claim self-defense if people open fire on you first. That's simply not the case. All you have to do is fear serious bodily injury or death, and Kyle did in all three of those instances. That's all that matters. The motive of the attackers is irrelevant. Doesn't matter if they had good intentions. None whatsoever. All that matters is what Kyle believed, and they don't have to open fire on him first. What kind of self-defense law would require that you have to wait until somebody opens fire on you first before you can act? You're dead by then.
Especially not the people he murdered. So that's going to be difficult to prove. Maybe it's there. Maybe I just haven't seen it.
Well, maybe you ought to wait until you find the evidence first before shooting your mouth off about whether he's guilty or not.
But legally speaking, his case is going to be exceptionally hard for his defense lawyers to work out in court no matter how much money Republicans raise for him. But that
Okay, so legally speaking, you should keep your mouth shut. You don't know Wisconsin laws, asshole. Okay, don't be shooting your mouth off about what legally speaking is when you don't know the law. You should go read the law first, then make your conclusion. You're not a lawyer. You don't have any expertise in self-defense at all. I'm not a lawyer, but I know self-defense laws. You have no clue whatsoever. You're shooting your mouth off about something you have no knowledge of. And so quit using that term, legally speaking. You know of not what you speak.
that's not even the issue here. I'm not worried about that. What I am worried about is the fact that we have this party, this Republican Party, who now views Rittenhouse as a folk hero, as a superhero. They're hoisting him up on his shoulders. The weekend the kid gets out of jail, he goes home and he's got Ricky Schroeder, who apparently is a former actor, waiting for him to take pictures with him. Kyle Rittenhouse smiling big. He's so happy.
I would be too if I just got out of jail. I wished I was there. I would have been partying up with him too. Why? Because I think he's innocent. Those who think he's innocent are doing nothing wrong by celebrating him getting out of jail. If we thought that he was guilty, we wouldn't be doing this.
Which I'll get to that in a minute because that's actually a really bad sign. Endorsement from Black Rifle Coffee.
Not true. It was never endorsed by Black Rifle Coffee. You should have waited for the information to come out first before shooting your mouth off.
He's getting tweets from sitting politicians, sitting Republican politicians. One of them, a Florida state representative, said Kyle Rittenhouse for Congress.
A little bit overstated, sure, but they think he's innocent. He cannot understand that. He cannot get that through his thick skull, that the people who are supporting Kyle Rittenhouse actually think that he did nothing wrong. And why? Well, they watch the video. They see Rosenbaum chasing him. They see Huber and Grosskreutz chasing him. It looks to them, looks to me also, like Kyle was not the primary aggressor that night. And therefore, he's not guilty. And they're entitled to their opinion. And if they truly don't believe that Kyle is guilty, there is nothing wrong with them praising Kyle. I don't think it's very strategic. I wouldn't do it myself. However, there's nothing wrong with it. They're entitled to their opinion.
You're holding up this man as a hero because he murdered 2 Antifa people, 2 Black Lives Matter protesters, whatever those individuals were. They're dead. They don't get to spend Thanksgiving with their families this year.
Yeah, and whose fault is that? Theirs. They screwed up. Rosenbaum doesn't get to spend Thanksgiving with his family because he attacked Kyle and chased him. He attacked a kid carrying an AR-15 rifle who turned around and shot him dead. You know what? That's why he is not celebrating Thanksgiving at home, because he made the dumb decision to do something dumb. And that's what Rosenbaum does. The other 2, they chased Kyle when they didn't have to. They made the conscientious decision to go chase a kid down carrying a rifle. After the guy had shot somebody, they should have realized, ooh, wait a minute. Those little pointy things that come out of that barrel could end up hurting me. Maybe a good idea if I don't chase after this dude. But no, they were too dumb to realize that they were putting their lives in danger by doing so. They didn't do the smart thing. The smart thing would have been to keep an eye on him, follow him, keep a barrier in front of you. Know where the nearest tree is. If Kyle turns around, you could dive behind the tree, but you could follow him and make sure that he's not going to be going anywhere and start hurting people. But they instead attacked him, and they got what they got. And that's just the way it goes.
They don't even get to not choose to spend Thanksgiving with their families because CDC says not to. They didn't get that this year. Kyle Rittenhouse did. Because he was.
And you know why? Because Kyle Rittenhouse decided to carry an AR-15 rifle with him. That's why he gets to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas at home, was because he made the decision to arm himself in case he got attacked. That's why he gets to go home for Christmas and why the other ones don't.
He was released from prison because Republicans raised millions of dollars for him. This is the pro-life party. This is the law and order party. This is the party that says if you're a black man and you get shot by a cop, even if you weren't holding a weapon, it was probably your fault.
You know, I look at it from a case-by-case basis. If I see an unarmed black person shot by the cops, I'm going to look and see, was it his fault? And a lot of the times, I look at it and think, yeah, that was kind of his fault. And you know what? That's what you do. When you make dumb decisions, you get shot, I am not going to support you. You know, when the cop tells you to do something and you don't, and you make the cop feel like his life is threatened, and he smokes you, too bad, goodbye. I'm not going to spend any of my mental energy focusing on your problems.
Oh, I'm sorry, 14-year-old, actually younger than that, black kid playing with a BB gun, you got murdered by police. You shouldn't have had the gun.
Well, actually, it's a little more complicated than that. Not only should Tamer not have had the gun, he shouldn't have pulled the orange plug off that made it look like a toy. The manufacturer puts this orange plug on the front to let everybody know that this is not a real gun. Tamir Rice pulled it off, so now it looks like a real weapon, and it does. Anybody who thinks that they could distinguish that gun from a real one doesn't understand. I own a 1911. That thing looks exactly like mine, and I couldn't pick it out from a real one when they showed the two side by side. The cops didn't grab the gun, pull the orange plug off, and give it back to Tamir. Tamir did that himself. I understand he's a young kid. I know that young kids will do that. They want the gun to look realistic because it makes playing more fun. I get that. I'm not blaming Tamir so much, but that's what happened. If he had had the orange plug on the gun, the police officers might not have shot him, but they might have. The police officers made some mistakes there. And on another video, I'll go over it. They pulled in too close to him, and that didn't give him enough reaction time. Bad on them. It happens. But they didn't go in there to try to kill somebody and claim that they did. And that's just disingenuous.
The hypocrisy is astounding. The hypocrisy will make you want to pull your own teeth out. But it is something that has to be addressed. This kid killed 2 people.
Yes, we know that. He did kill 2 people. The question is not that. The question is whether it was justified.
And he showed no remorse.
To show remorse means to admit that you did something wrong, but Kyle thinks he's innocent. Kyle thinks that he acted in self-defense. Why would he show remorse? If he did show remorse, people like you would say, and you know that he's guilty because look how remorseful he is. You would use it against him. And don't tell me you wouldn't. You know you would. You can't win with these people. Anything you do is going to be cast in the light of guilt. So should he be remorseful? If he truly feels that he didn't do anything wrong, no.
If you need any other indicator as to what this kid's intent was, and this is what I just mentioned, look at the picture from this weekend.
Okay.
He is smiling big. He's happy. He doesn't have a care in the world.
He doesn't have a care in the world. Really? You really think he doesn't have a care in the world? He's facing 6 felony charges. The entire nation's after him. People like you are accusing him of being this horrible monster based on complete misinformation. And he doesn't have a care in the world? Every time he tries to raise money for his defense, he gets deplatformed. The entire corporate world is out to get him. You're out to get him. Anybody expressing support for him gets shadow banned. He is persecuted beyond belief. And you say he has no care in the world.
So either he's not competent enough to understand what he did, or he likely enjoyed it.
Oh, he's now enjoying it. Give me a break. Give me a break. At no point does he look like he's enjoying it. He's panicking. He knows he's got real problems ahead of him. After he shot Rosenbaum, he gets on the phone. He's clearly distressed. And he tries to run to the police. And you could tell he's stressed out. And then he gets attacked. He trips and he falls. He has a guy trying to brain him with a skateboard. Another one pulls a gun. And you're saying he enjoyed it?
This is the kind of person that needs to be removed from society. Locked away. We've seen people like this before. He is incapable of showing remorse.
And you're incapable of examining a situation analytically. Oh, this whole remorse thing. I even did a dumb argument on that one. Remember, I have my dumb argument series, and he showed no remorse is one of those.
So something could happen again. That's the telltale sign, folks. Those psychological symptoms. And from what I've seen, of course, I am not a professional. But in this particular instance, I don't know that you have to be. They're there. This kid is not sorry for what he did. And that should be really all the prosecution needs to put him away.
This man is so convinced that Kyle only had evil intentions that night. He's one of those that if you gave him the truth in a box, and he thought that the truth might set Kyle free, remember we're talking about the truth here, he'd bury it. He would take that truth box out into the backyard and bury it. He wants Kyle convicted. He doesn't care if Kyle did it or not. This is a political deal with him. You notice how often he mentions Republicans this and conservatives that. This is a political deal with these people. They want Kyle convicted not because of what they think he did, but because he represents the political opposition. Christians, conservatives, pro-Trump. That's all it takes. Given the opportunity, he would absolutely lie to get Kyle convicted if he was a witness. Given the opportunity, he would absolutely plant evidence to get Kyle convicted. This is what Kyle's going to be dealing with. And people are going to be coming out of the woodwork now to lay claim to all kinds of testimony to try to get Kyle convicted, just like they did with Michael Brown. You don't believe me? I'll do a session here pretty soon on the Michael Brown grand jury report, and you will see one witness after another admit they fabricated their testimony because they wanted to help get the officer convicted. And this is the kind of person that would do that kind of thing. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.